We might want something, yet we can't get it because our subconscious is telling us the story, oh, you're not worthy of this. But I'm like, no, yes, I'm worthy. That's my conscious mind. But until you address the subconscious mind and the reason why that story is running, that you're not worthy, then you're going to keep attracting toxic situations into your life.
Would you say that trauma is the root cause for chronic illness?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
We have Elisabeth Carson. Welcome, Elisabeth. How are you? All right.
Thank you.
We're joined today by Elisabeth Carson, a powerful voice in personal transformation and the founder of Enhanced Flow, a company dedicated to global healing and conscious leadership.
What's your input on vaccines?
I'm not a fan. A lot of them contain things that are surprising, that are actually very bad for us and kids. If you're in a consistent traumatizing environment, though, then you're going to grow up hypervigilant. It's basically like turning your nervous system on to sympathetic fight or flight, and you're stuck there. Back in the day when we had to get away from tigers and lions and we had to run for our life, our nervous systems would shift into sympathetic. It would shift back into parasympathetic as soon as the threat was gone.
How would you define trauma?
Trauma, in my eyes, is
Welcome to another episode of A Healthy Point of View podcast. I'm your host, Sam Tejada, and as usual, we're bringing experts from all over the world to talk about health, wellness, beauty, and mindset. Today, our guest, local here in South Florida. You know, we always talk about trauma, but we don't understand the effect that trauma has internally into your body. This is a transformational coach who works with a lot of different people from all walks of life. She's going to be talking about her own story, but also what we need to tap into when we talk about health, wellness, and biohacking. Today, we have Elisabeth Carson. Welcome, Elisabeth. How are you? All right.
Thank you.
Welcome to A Healthy Point of View podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for that welcome. I'm
Absolutely.
That's
it. Yeah. Got to always have the energy, right?
Yes.
Do you know the importance of being vibrating at that high frequency and having good
Absolutely.
energy?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're all about here at A Healthy Point of View.
Amazing.
So I want to start off with our viewers and listeners really getting to know who you are from your upbringing of, really what did you go through in life? What was your childhood like? Before we get into all the meat and potatoes of living through trauma and being able to detoxify that trauma, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so where do I start? So I was born in Korea and adopted when I was 3 months old and came over to Michigan, grew up there, and I kind of just came into this third dimensional reality in a mode of trauma because of the adoption. I never got to see my mother doing regression work over the years. I realized I re-experienced my birth and never saw my mother. And as I was actually leaving the womb, she was screaming and shrieking, not only in pain, but in emotional. She was distraught. So I came out thinking that I was getting yelled at and then never being consoled by the person that I grew with, the only person that I knew, basically. So I kind of carried that energy throughout my childhood, and it was a deep wound that I had. So when I was very young, I would say 11 or 12, I started to drink, and I think I was experimenting with weed at that time. I actually was thinking that I was selling drugs because I was putting sage in little baggies, like I'm going to sell weed. And by 14, I had moved out of my parents' house into a place with my high school sweetheart and his father, who was a drug addict. So we had no oversight. So lots happened then. I was a 14-year-old partying with college kids, and that's when I really learned how to hustle. And there were some guys down the hall from us that taught me how to actually sell real weed. So I was learning how to hustle. I was partying. I was just doing all the wrong things at that age. And ended up getting actually kicked out of that place and moving back in with my parents. And this one evening, I was deciding to be a good girl and stay home and not sneak out, not go to the parties, even though I had been invited. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, it was all boom, boom, boom at my door. And these people burst in and grabbed me out of my sleep and basically threw me in the car, dropped me off on a plane, like took me on a plane and dropped me off in the middle of the woods. where I spent 60 days in boot camp.
Mm.
And yeah, one of those programs.
How old were you when that happened?
15.
15.
Yeah.
Your parents set that up?
Yes, they did. And
Wow.
as these people were coming to get me out of my room, my parents are standing at the doorway, and I'm like, I'm being kidnapped. Like, help me, like, what are y'all doing? They were
Right.
just standing there. They were just standing there. They didn't, tears in their eyes. And yeah, it was really traumatic, actually. But the boot camp that I went to it taught me a lot. I know how to survive in the woods. I know how to make fire out of 2 sticks. It's called a bow drill. But so I learned a lot. And then coming back home, I was ready to start behaving and really, following the law and doing well in school. And then my parents dropped the bomb on me that I was going to get shipped off to boarding school within a week. So I was like, okay, well, screw you guys. Everything reverted. I got mad again. And at boarding school, they had a very strict 3-strike rule. And of course, in the mindset that I was in, I mean, I was doing drugs, I was getting in fights, I was drinking, having parties. So that 3 strikes happened, and my parents ended up pulling me before I got expelled. So I finished off high school back where I grew up. And at the ripe age of 18, I became a dancer and an exotic dancer. And at that time, the drugs got really bad. I was using cocaine and alcohol and Adderall.
This was in Michigan?
Yes, Detroit, actually.
Detroit.
So I fell into addiction pretty bad, trying to cover up the way that I was feeling by doing what I was doing. And so it was just a really just blurry time, I guess you would say, for me. And I remember this one time I had went deep into drugs and went on like a 3-month binge of like ecstasy and came out of it. And I remember my brain, I was so just out of it. Like I felt like I was walking around in a dream and I couldn't even finish a sentence. And I always prided myself off of being smart. Even though I skipped school all the time, I would come in and ace tests,
Right.
So I was always very, very smart. And I couldn't even finish sentences. So I was walking around in this haze and I was speaking to a friend and he told me about this thing that could help my brain. And I was like, sign me up. I'll do that. So immediately he took me to his office and for the next 5 days, I did 5 days in a row of neurofeedback. And that was when I was
neurofeedback.
19.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I realized that there was something out there that could snap me back into reality because after those 5 days, I was able to speak full sentences again. I signed up for school. I moved back in with my mother. I started to exercise and, I really got some contrast there from feeling just distraught and traumatized and trying to cover it up with drugs and alcohol to clear. I was feeling clear. I was feeling like I could actually function in the world. But it didn't.
And you give that to the neurofeedback? It was
I
the
do.
neurofeedback with the brain mapping? You did like the
Yeah,
whole
yep.
training and everything?
Yep, everything.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
mapped me. And then, for the next 5 days, I spent 3 hours every day for 5 days in a row doing neurofeedback.
Wow.
And it just, it changed me. It really did. But unfortunately, at the time, I was still very immature and didn't understand trauma or anything like that. So I fell back into the life, moved to Hollywood, followed my dreams of being a model and actress. And, in Hollywood, back in the day at least, I don't know how it is anymore, but cocaine out there, like, it's like water. Like, you want a glass of water? Like, you want a bump? Same thing. So I fell back into drugs and I was using neurofeedback to bring me out of my drug stupors. So I was leaning into biohacking, but for all the toxic reasons at the time. And really, it was when, I was still hustling in the streets. I ended up getting in trouble, getting locked up.
How long you get locked up for?
6 months.
That's
So I
fine.
was in there for 6 months fighting my case and finally got out. And it was my boyfriend at the time that we got locked up together. So he got out a couple months after I did and realized that the federal government was after him for a different case. So we went on the run. And on the run, I got pregnant. So everything changed. I realized I had another human I was responsible for. So he turned himself in. And the moment my life changed was when I dropped him off at prison when my son was 3 months old in Pennsylvania. We drove there. And I'm walking into this prison and my son's dad's holding our 3-month-old and he's looking at our kid, just like staring at him with these blank eyes. And I'm watching this whole thing like out of body experience. I'm like, what? I was just I was disassociated. So I watched the CEO with the handcuffs clanking, walking toward us, and my son's dad gives our son a kiss on the forehead, hands our son to me, and sticks his wrists out, and the cop took him away. And at that moment, I was like looking around and realizing that my world was empty because I was empty. And
Mm.
I already had knew there was something out there from doing neurofeedback that could help me to feel clear and think clear and feel better. So at that time, I dove into researching and studying and biohacking. And at that time, yeah, I really, really started to educate myself about what trauma was and how I was feeling. And that's kind of how it led me to the path that I'm on now. It started at that moment. So,
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity to talk to you and read about you, and you've tried, I mean, hundreds of different modalities
yeah,
at
tons.
this point.
Yeah.
Um, so you touched a little bit on trauma, and you said that you really didn't understand what trauma was,
Hmm.
even when you were doing like the neurofeedback and
Yeah.
the brain mapping and whatnot. So, how would you define trauma?
Trauma, in my eyes, is the reaction or feeling that you get from something that happens to you, whatever is internalized during that, whatever it is. So it could be something so small as, small as falling and scraping your knee, or it could be getting shot. However you react and internalize that moment is what, in my mind, trauma is, because it's no big or small trauma. It's literally how your nervous system responds to the moment of the stimulus that is overwhelming to your system. So it's kind of how what you hold on to internally that kind of gets stuck in your energetic body, in your physical body, and in your minds.
Right. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize they sometimes have that trauma, right?
Hmm.
And we carry it and not actually understand that it's still there,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of it's even like I do a lot of personal development. I attend a lot of coaching sessions.
Mm.
And one of the things that they talk a lot about, especially with new people who come through who have a breakthrough, is that they're retaining this trauma that's childhood trauma.
Yeah. Hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about childhood trauma, what that's like, and the importance of actually addressing those traumas?
Yeah, so basically, from fetus to about a year and a half, your brain waves are in delta, and then from a year and a half to 7, they're in theta. And when your brainwave states are in this mode, it's literally like in everything is going into your subconscious and programming your personality basically for the rest of your life. So if you are a child and you're experiencing things that are traumatizing to your nervous system, then your wiring is going to be a bit different than another person or child that feels loved and safe and secure in their environment. So, even they've done studies to where, amygdalas in the brain can actually get oversized with a child that has so much trauma. And that's your fear center in your brain. And even your hippocampus, they can be smaller. That's where you consolidate memory. And so, even within wiring within the nervous system, trauma really affects that and how you react to it. So, if you are growing up in something traumatic, which honestly, I really feel like everybody has trauma. It's impossible to go through this life unscathed, right? So, if you're in a consistent traumatizing environment, though, then you're going to grow up hyper vigilant and
Mm.
everything is going to feel like a threat. It's basically like turning your nervous system on to sympathetic fight or flight, and you're stuck there, which it's different. Back in the day when we had to get away from tigers and lions and we had to run for our life, then our nervous systems would shift into sympathetic. Cortisol, adrenaline is being released, and then it would shift back into parasympathetic, rest and digest as soon as the threat was gone. So our nervous systems these days, though, it's like we're getting traumatized or things are happening to us and our nervous systems are getting stuck in fight or flight.
Mm.
And when it's stuck in fight or flight and you're not down regulating that, then the consistent cortisol, the consistent adrenaline, those hormones will cause a cascade of stuff going on in your system that is bad, and inflammation, right? So inflammation is the basis of all autoimmune disease. So you really have to realize and understand that what happens to us in those childhood ages, even in pregnancy, right? I even did work with a cranial sacral practitioner, and she put her hands on my stomach, and I went back into my mother's womb, and I could feel her emotions. I could feel her stress. I could feel like the distraught. She just didn't want me. I could feel that because halfway through pregnancy, stress hormones cross the placenta. So
Mm,
the babies, if a pregnant woman is stressed out, your baby is swimming around in those stress hormones, feeling all of these different things.
wow.
So that's imprinting you for your entire life. So, I mean, that will honestly determine how you react to certain things. That's why so many people, I mean, until you do the healing work and realize that peace is healthy, that stability is healthy, then your nervous system, you're going to unconsciously and subconsciously look for things that remind you of your history as a child because that feels safer to your nervous system and to your brain. So familiar pain feels better to you than unfamiliar goodness,
Oh,
something that's
wow.
unknown that could be amazing for you because you're so used to that. That's how you grew up. That's how you stamped yourself. And that's how you're moving through this world until you realize that that's what you're attracting.
Wow. So how do you unlearn that, or how do you detoxify and address those traumas?
So there's so many ways to do the unraveling. I mean, that's why I love biohacking so much because I really feel like biohacking is not only to optimize your body and your environment, but really you're optimizing mind, body, soul. So throughout neurofeedback, I mean, I feel like that unraveled a lot for me. It just brought me into presence and kind of took me out of that fight or flight mode so I could be present to understand, hey, I have some issues and the way that I feel in fight or flight is not the way that you're supposed to feel all the time because until you have contrast, it's like everything is normal,
Right,
right? You're
right.
just walking around, stimulus response, stimulus response. So then you get some contrast, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I can feel clear. I can feel calm. My heart can settle down, my muscles can loosen up a little bit. So through neurofeedback, I mean, you can go into flotation therapy, which helps your brain waves to go into theta alpha, and so that is the doorway to your subconscious. So you can start to reprogram some of that stuff that's hard to get because subconsciously, I mean, our subconscious runs us. 95% of our thought patterns and actions are subconscious.
Right.
So we might want something, but yet we can't get it because our subconscious is telling us the story. Oh, you're not worthy of this. But I'm like, no, yes, I'm worthy. That's my conscious mind. But until you address the subconscious mind and the reason why that story is running that you're not worthy, then you're going to keep attracting toxic situations into your life.
Right,
So it's
right, right.
unraveling. You
It is.
really,
I'm very familiar with that and deal with a lot of patients that, go through that.
yeah.
And it's very important to address. Would you say that trauma is the root cause for chronic illness?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. That's my personal opinion. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but honestly, I really feel like the mind body connection is so strong. And as I keep on learning this, I'm in a brain health certification course right now. As I keep on learning about anatomy and our physiology and how our bodies work in reaction to the way we think, to what we feel. I mean, when you're unconsciously triggered, then you will be holding somewhere in our body. And for me, it was like my hip. So I would hold like really, I would tighten up my right hip. And I didn't even know that was a pattern. But if you
Mm,
think about that and how our body works, if you're tightening an area of your body all the time, then you're restricting blood flow, lymph flow, you're creating inflammation in that area.
right.
I mean, think about it. Like, that's why a lot of us have lower back pain because as soon as we get stressed or angry, we're holding in our backs and we don't even realize that we are.
Yeah.
And it's creating all of these root issues that grow into bigger problems if we never address them. Inflammation is the root of it all. So if you're walking around inflamed, especially in certain parts of your body, I mean, that is going to turn into a physical ailment. I mean, even in cancers, I really feel like, and again, I'm not a doctor, this is just my personal belief, but if you're walking around and you're vibing so high and your frequency is attached to your source energy and you're just present and everything is free flowing, I don't feel like that vibration of cancer can live within the physical body.
Right.
Because you're so clear. But if you're stuffed up from trauma, from resentment, all of these negative emotions that you're holding on to, I call them chains from your past, then it's pulling you away from the present moment. And you're continuing to react. Your physical body is continuing to react to external stimulus. So it's like, all of these issues pop up. I really do believe that everything is rooted with mind-body connection.
Yeah. Yeah. That mind body is everything. Like when you have the ability to get that brain, that mind to really reset and to relax. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about it all the time.
Yes.
He's got patients that heal themselves from all kinds of patients that will start walking again from being paralyzed, from being able to tap into the mind.
Yes.
So that is something that's extremely important. And when you're talking about addressing childhood trauma or any kind of trauma, first you got to tap into the mind, to address it.
Yes.
Have you ever had a breakthrough yourself?
Many breakthroughs.
How do you know it's a breakthrough? What do you feel?
Well, it's kind of like a level up, you feel like a little bit. I mean, that's what I would personally, my perspective of a breakthrough is like a level up. So, I mean, even when I was 19, coming out of that fog, doing neurofeedback, that was a breakthrough for me.
Right.
Because I got out of the fog. It was like all of a sudden it was a sunny day instead of a rainy day for me. So that was huge. I mean, I did high dose mushrooms before, and that was one of the most beautiful healing experiences that I've ever done in my life.
Why is that?
That's when I re-experienced my birth again. So I always wanted to know. I've always had abandonment issues because that was my core wound, abandonment. So the overreaction that my body would have if I felt like I was being abandoned was way over the top. And I'm like, I need to figure out why this is so big in my body. So I really went into the mushroom journey with an intention of trying to figure out why that was so big within me. And I literally re-experienced my birth again. And it was so beautiful. I mean, it was very painful. I could feel all of the emotions. I could hear all of the things. I could see that I wanted my mother. I never saw her. I got pulled away from the doctors right away. And it all broke me, but it broke me open. And it helped me to attach a conscious memory to why I was like the way I is, which I am, which is what I never had before. I could never attach it consciously. That's why a lot of adoptees will be out here kind of confused and flailing around with all of these issues, not understanding where they root from.
Right.
And it's really like those first few moments of your life on this planet in this third dimension are so incredibly important that can really affect you for the rest of your life. And a lot of adoptees have these issues, major issues.
Wow. Yeah. That's definitely something that there's a lot of data on that. There's data that backs up exactly what you're saying there. When it comes to grounding,
yes,
what does grounding do for you?
I love grounding. So it's not grounding as in like you're trying to, just like.
Right.
It's honestly, scientifically, it is connecting your bare hands and your bare feet to the earth's surface where there's an abundance of negative ions all over. So your body sucks up those electrons and it lowers and decreases inflammation. It's impossible to be chronically inflamed when you're grounded. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, free thing that we all have that can really shift and completely change your entire life. I mean, go outside and do this, and in 20 minutes, your nervous system is downregulated if you're in fight or flight. I mean, do this, and you'll realize just all the stress and the inflammation and the pain being sucked out of your body. I have coached thousands of people at this point with grounding, and it has changed pretty much everybody's life. I mean, chronic pain goes away. I mean, you can heal faster through grounding. I mean, if you think about it, I'm not saying correlation is causation, but in the 1970s, we were disconnected from the earth's surface when they slapped rubber-soled shoes on our shoes. Before then, we were walking around with leather-soled shoes or barefoot that has conductivity with it. And then since then, diabetes, autoimmune disease, I mean, on the rise, right? I'm not saying, causation is correlation, but I think that there's something there. Because if you're grounded, you can't, your body's not inflamed.
You're right about that. And that's one of the things that when you look at the way people live today, we don't get sunlight.
Yeah.
We're always indoors,
Yes.
right? we're fully clothed. We're not
Mhm.
made to be fully clothed. We should
Right.
be outside, butt naked.
Mhm.
Getting that first sunlight. We don't
Yes.
get it.
Yeah.
We live in high rises. We're in buildings like where I'm
Yeah.
at right now. We
Mhm.
don't even touch the ground.
Yeah.
Right. So all of the natural things that God has put on this earth
Mhm.
for us to be able to heal ourselves, we don't even touch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, that's a problem.
Yeah.
When you start thinking about energy medicine and the frequencies that allow us to heal,
Yeah.
like the sun. The
Yeah.
sun, what plant or what plant can live without the sun?
Right.
Like they
Mhm.
all need it. That's where they get their nutrients from. Even us, we get the vitamin D from the sun. So,
Yes.
um, if you're not going to be outside and grounding and not going to be getting some sunlight, to help regulate your circadian rhythm and everything else, then there's a lot of these other things that you're talking about in the biohacking world that you should tap into, right?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
grounding is definitely one of them.
Mhm.
So you're from Detroit.
Mhm.
What years did you live in Detroit?
I lived in Detroit from when I was back and forth from 16 on. So 16 to I would say like 34. Um, Before 16, I was Lansing, the
What
capital.
years were these?
Huh.
What year was it?
What year was it? I think it was 2003 all the way until recent. I just moved from Detroit, so till about 3 years ago.
So I mean, because Detroit has had a tremendous shift.
Yeah, it
I mean,
has.
there used to be
Yes, it
like
has.
a ridiculous amount of manufacturing over there,
Look, yeah.
and when they started taking all of the manufacturing stuff overseas,
Mhm.
Detroit really went downhill.
Mhm.
So it was rough. I
Yeah.
mean, you were there for that.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was actually living. It was so funny because I used to live in this building called the Kales Building downtown Detroit, and it was crazy because every single night I would hear gunshots and like it was just wild. It was wild, and I recently have went back and they cleaned up Detroit City like downtown. It's beautiful now. They turned that building into like these luxury condos, and I'm like, there's no crackheads outside anymore. It's
That took a lot
really
of work to
different.
do that.
Oh yeah,
I,
yeah.
I actually watched a show of the Detroit Police Department,
Uh huh.
and nobody wanted to even work for the Detroit Police Department.
Look, it's crazy out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy out there.
So one of the things you talk about is about how toxic
Yeah.
that inner city was.
Yeah.
Like a lot of toxic chemicals in the
Still
water.
is, yeah. Hmm.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So one of my missions, so when I was doing real estate, I partnered with a political party to help them book campaign offices. And in doing that, I got very, very connected with a lot of the politicians. And through one of the state senators, a conversation, he was basically telling me he resided over Detroit. And he was basically telling me that Detroit's water was just as bad as Flint's water, but it was just getting swept under the rug. And everybody knows about the Flint water crisis. They were poisoning their residents. So I was like, really? And then I started looking into things and realizing that there's so much lead based paint still. There's tons of asbestos still because of the old infrastructure there.
Right.
So there's toxic lights, there's lead based paint, there's asbestos, there's mercury and lead and all of these neurotoxins in the water that at these schools where all these kids are going to school, the drinking fountains, there's no filters.
All right.
So they're just consuming all of this toxicity. And not only is it toxicity, but it's neurotoxins. So it's affecting the way that these kids are growing and thinking. And so we expect as outer society, oh, well, those kids, why are they all mess ups, right? Why are they all messing up, not graduating? Well, of course they're not graduating. And of course the scores
Right.
are low because the infrastructure and the environments that they live in are poisoning them on a daily basis. So we went on this whole mission to try to kind of blow the whistle and change some things. We got some headway. A couple of the schools put water filtration systems inside the school, but there's still so much work to do there. And it was crazy because I had been working on this issue for about 2 years. And I remember I was sitting at a building right next to the Capitol with 2 representatives, 2 senators, and a whole bunch of lobbyists. And I was like, guys, how are we going to fix this? Is there a bill that you guys can pass? Like, what can we do? And they told me to come back in like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, in 3 years, there's going to be graduates that haven't graduated.
Right.
There's going to be the kids that are still stuck in their situation, still getting poisoned by this. Like, what do you mean come back in 3 years? So it really just showed me how these systems are kind of just, I don't know, they fail us in so many different ways. So, I really like to talk about that a lot because it's like our expectation of children in some of these inner cities where they don't have the beautiful new buildings with all of the new stuff. They still have all of the old infrastructure, which is affecting the way that they're taking in
Right.
information
Yeah.
and that they're behaving.
Yep.
I mean, it causes ADD, it causes ADHD, it causes depression, bipolar disorder. I mean, all of these different issues that will make a child or make a person not act perfectly like a stand-up citizen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's
Right.
just unfair. It's unfair conditions. So we should really look at this when we see maybe pockets of schools that are getting low test scores or pockets of schools that have a lot of crime.
These kids are getting poisoned. That's what it is.
Exactly.
And it's all in the water.
Exactly.
Water, environment, the air,
Yes.
and those things have to be addressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a big way. And it's not only in Detroit, it's in a lot of different
Yeah,
places.
yeah. And that's one of the things. We do a lot of blood work throughout our longevity clinics, and
Mhm.
we see stuff pop up.
I bet.
Well, people that live near golf courses, we
Yeah.
see it. We see it. People that live close to airports where the airplane fuel is burning off. People
Yeah.
breathing that every single day. The different inner cities that people
Mhm.
grow up in.
Yeah.
Toxic water,
Yes.
toxic food.
Mm-hmm.
People that live in food deserts.
Yeah.
They only have this ultra processed food
Yeah.
that has
Terrible.
all kinds of toxins. So I want to hear your input, and there's no right or wrong answer to this because we're talking about kids. What's your input on vaccines?
Oof. I'm not a fan personally because of the research that I've done on vaccines. A lot of them contain things that are surprising that should not be in there that are actually very bad for us and kids. I actually have a very good friend of mine, Jess. She was a pussycat doll,
Okay.
and she's got the vax injury. She's actually in Mexico right now getting treatment because she has shingles on the inside of her body,
Wow.
and she just wakes up in burning pain. I mean, she said the pain is just it's insurmountable. Like, if you think about it, shingles are one of the most painful things that you can get on your skin. Can you
Right.
imagine having it on the inside of your body?
Also, you can't even do anything about it.
So she got the vaccine, and it all started from getting the vaccine.
Wow.
So there is so many, and in interviewing her, actually, I found out that there's so many kids that are dying because of the vaccine, the recent vaccine that they're promoting everywhere still.
Right.
And I just feel like, in theory, a vaccine is great, right? It's amazing. I mean, it's helping your body to adapt, right? But because of all the stuff that are added to the vaccines and
Right.
because of the recent vaccine that has not had the years and years and years of research and testing, or maybe it has, who knows? But it's like we have to be more careful with what we're allowing in our bodies. And unfortunately, one of my clients, I was talking to her yesterday, and her job, because she works at the hospital, is making them get the flu vaccine. And I'm like, I can't believe that they're still making us as people, as our own sovereign humans out here, put stuff into our bodies that we don't even know exactly what's in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did that come from?
I would be unemployed if I was her.
Exactly. I told her,
I'm
I was
not
like,
getting it.
listen, religious
I'll figure
exemption,
it
something,
out.
but it's it's very, very unfair. These systems have failed us in so many ways.
Yeah. Fortunately, right now, the administration we have
Yes.
is addressing that.
Yeah.
And they're making it clear, and they're getting a lot of heat from
Yeah.
the other side about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when they see people living a lot longer, healthier,
Mhm.
kids that are not having all of these autistic issues and
Yeah.
everything else, the data will show it.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that the data will show it exactly the way it should show it.
Yeah,
So,
they just made it so babies don't have to have the Hep B vaccine like
right.
immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was amazing.
Because
That
I
stuff.
mean, they pump tons of different vaccines in these children all
It's
at once.
just
You
I
know,
just can't. I
it's
don't
too much.
understand
Too
it.
much.
No.
So, if someone wants to begin like a healing journey, based off your experience, your transformation coach, you've been through your own healing journeys. What's typically the first step that you would recommend for someone to do to begin that healing journey?
Well, it starts with awareness. So, how are you able to gain more awareness about yourself in a comfortable way? So, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of start becoming more aware that there are these things. Because if you're unaware of something, you can't fix it, right? So, you
Right.
have to start widening your lens of awareness. So, things like neurofeedback even gives you a little bit of space to become aware of what's happening. Things that shift you out of fight or flight and into parasympathetic, rest and digest, will help you to be feel safe to start looking at some of the scary things. So I mean, there's so many different modalities that you can kind of dive into to create more awareness within self. I mean, it started with neurofeedback for me. There's also this brain training called Neuroptimal, which is kind of like neurofeedback, except it's basically instead of feeding yourself or your brain frequencies, it's putting a mirror up to your brain so you can kind of see in real time, this is not a good connection. This is not a good connection. So your brain's basically fixing itself in real time with Neuroptimal. I would say things like grounding. I mean, grounding is free for everybody. You can just go outside and start to put your bare hands and feet on the earth's surface, connecting with nature. This all regulates your system and kind of brings your brain waves down into this state of focus, calm presence where you can start to see yourself better because you have to address it's like AA, right? I mean, alcoholics, if you don't address that you have an issue, then you're not ever going to fix it. So
Right.
that's step 1. How can you expand your awareness enough to realize, hey, maybe during childhood my dad was mean to me. So I have these daddy issues now. Maybe it's, oh, well, this abuse happened to me, this thing happened to me when I was 13. So that is causing me to, self-sabotage in all of these other ways in my life. But you kind of have to trace things back to where it starts from, and that usually begins from your very, very early childhood years. And so journaling, I mean, really kind of opens up that awareness. Meditation I love, but for me, when I first tried to do it, it was really traumatizing. And they've actually done studies on the brain during meditation for people that are very kind of hyperactive and very traumatized in their own system already. When they close their eyes, it causes more anxiety and fear within the system.
Mm,
So for those
okay.
people that find it extremely hard to close your eyes and sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I would suggest for those people to just take a walk and do a walking meditation. And as you're walking, you're stimulating both sides of your brain and you're connecting, right? Connect with all the nature around you. I always tell my clients, take a walk and notice all the nature around you and then give thanks. Even if it's a tiny little flower, like a little centimeter, like give thanks to that flower. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And connect with nature because that's bringing your nervous system out of fight or flight. And it's bringing your brain waves down as well. So, I mean, you just have to give yourself enough space and allowance to feel these things that could be scary that maybe
Right.
you haven't wanted to look at prior. It all starts with awareness.
Do you do self meditation or you do guided meditation?
I do both. I think
Okay.
both are very, very important.
I'll tell you,
So,
like me, I started off with like Dr. Willis, who was my mentor in the functional medicine space since I was like 19.
mhm,
He gave me this little green book. I forgot the name of it, but it was to teach you how to meditate.
mhm,
And I just could never do it on my own. Till today, I have a very difficult time meditating on my own.
mhm.
But like I'll use Brain Tap, Dr. Porter's
Yes,
device,
yes.
and that thing just puts me. I go to a whole other world.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
it does. It does
Yeah.
that. I love Dr. Porter's Brain Tap. That tool had really helped me during this last hard time. I just recently got a divorce, so that really gave my brain enough energy for me to process what was going on in a healthy way. So
Hmm.
I wasn't processing out of lack. I was actually processing out of energy to be able to really handle things in a more divine way than I would have if I didn't have that tool. So it really helped me.
Yeah. I love Brain Tap. A
Yeah.
lot of us use it here.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So what does accessible healing mean to you?
Accessible healing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it would be just things that anyone can do. Honestly, what I really didn't like when I first entered the space of biohacking was the fact that biohackers at the time, this was like 10 years ago, I think it's changed a bit, but I mean, it was like your middle-aged Caucasian man in the
Right.
space trying to optimize the rich people, right?
Yep.
Trying to just optimize and basically just live totally and completely 1000% better, right? But what I realized is that biohacking helped me to get out of a really toxic frequency, attracting all of this trauma into my life. So I looked at biohacking like it was a little bit unfair because the tools are so expensive.
It is.
I mean, incredibly expensive. And for the people that need it, not that want it, but the people that need it usually can't afford it.
Right.
So I was like, oh, disgruntled. But that's why I started looking into more things that you can do that are accessible, that you can do to yourself, like emotional freedom technique, tapping, right? That's free. You can just literally tap on different energetic points in your body and process a ton of subconscious trauma that you have and kind of repattern those things so you can feel better. I mean, grounding is free. You can do things like just sitting and connecting with nature and letting the sun hit your face. That in itself is beautiful. Accessible healing. I mean, something called trauma release exercise. It's where you exhaust your psoas muscle and your body just releases this tension and trauma it's been holding on to for years. Dr. David Berceli is actually the creator of trauma release exercise, and that's accessible because there's just a bunch of videos on YouTube that anybody can do stuff like that.
Right.
So, I mean, you can reparent yourself as you get further along into these healing spaces. I mean, sometimes I'll just sit in my chair and I'll go through past traumatic points in my life and I will just hug myself. I'll calm my nervous system as I'm hugging myself, as I'm being the parent of that part of myself that needed something that I didn't get back then. So that alone can change neural pathways of traumatic memories to make your emotional charge not as strong and start to repattern and feel safer within yourself. So there's a bunch of different things that you kind of work on.
Yeah, I'm happy that you bring that up with the accessible healing about what's happening in the biohacking space. And then one of the things you said before that on the other conversation was awareness. And I think it's important for people to understand that when it comes to taking care of your health, it's not just about doing all of these expenses,
No.
Modalities and the crazy blood work.
Yeah.
And those things are cool and it's a plus if you can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But in all reality, and I have a soft spot in my heart when it comes to this because I grew up in the inner city as well. I'm Dominican, migrated here from the Dominican Republic at a young age. But my two business partners, Dr. Haywood and Dr. Davis, are African American. So for us, we do see that the biohacking and functional medicine space has been white male driven for the older age individuals, people who have a certain level of income. So, but everybody else needs this stuff too.
Yeah.
And what people kind of forget are the basics. The basics are not expensive. They're actually free, right? Listening to this podcast is free.
Yes.
Just go on the streaming platforms. I bring experts here all the time. You got your podcast, streams on all the free platforms as well. So, and then one thing that I'm a huge advocate about, and a dear friend of mine, Sandy Martin, she actually wrote a book on this, is biohacking starts with no. If you know the things to say no to, that's almost 90% of the work.
I love that. That's fire. Yeah.
And that's free.
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that. What you're putting in your body, what are you eating? What is it that, are you moving your body? Are you exercising?
Yeah.
How are you sleeping?
Sleep
Spend a
is
couple
big.
$100, get a Oura ring. I wear my Oura ring all day.
Yes.
So you can see your sleep data. So you saying that about how biohacking needs to be accessible, and it can be accessible. That's something that I think we have to put more emphasis on. The more we talk, the more we move around. to make sure people are taking care of their health.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sleep is is baseline health too. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to go to sleep within the
Right.
same hour range of time, which helps you and extends your life by I think like 5 to 10 years. They've done studies
Mm-hmm.
now. So I mean, there's so much that you can do. And I love that 90% starts with saying no. I
Yeah.
mean, boundaries. I mean, when we have been traumatized so much, especially women growing up and in these traumatic states, we don't have boundaries.
All right.
And those are, I mean, energetically, physically, it affects us in a major way. And when you can create very healthy boundaries, that alone will change your whole entire life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to like sleep, and us saying no, I'll give an example for the listeners and viewers. It's like you say no, I'm not going to eat 30 minutes before going to sleep. That's a start, right?
Mm.
Me saying no, I'm not going to eat 2 hours. I'm going to eat 3 hours before going to sleep. That's just me saying no to eating too close to
Yeah.
sleep time, which is
Yeah.
going to affect my sleep. Or me saying, you know what? No, I'm not going to touch my phone and be on social media right before going to sleep
Yeah.
because that blue light exposure is going to release more cortisol inside of my body.
Mhm.
That those are the basic things,
Yes. Yeah.
So, which I know that you and I both practice these things quite frequently, and that's where it's becoming our job to really through these type of platforms like the podcast explain it for the people to actually implement it in their lives too.
Yeah, I want to mention too really quickly. So there's like everybody has a habit of grabbing their phones when they wake up and like staring at their
Mm-hmm.
phones and what that does is so our brain has these different waves that we're frequencies of thought, right? So as we're sleeping, we're in delta. As we wake up, it goes to theta, it goes to alpha, and then it goes to beta, and then high beta, right? But if you grab your phone as soon as you wake up and you start scrolling on Instagram or you start checking your emails, then you're jumping from delta to beta. That is going to put your nervous system, body, and thoughts on high alert for the rest of the day.
Wow.
You're missing that. And those are beautiful times for you to be, manifesting or trying to create what you want to create for the day because as you move delta, theta, alpha, beta, you're going through the doorway to your subconscious. So you're able to lay things down inside of your subconscious to create for the day. I mean, it's a beautiful, right before you fall asleep and right when you wake up are amazing times to program how you want your life to go.
I agree. I agree with that. What are some wellness gimmicks that you see out there that people should avoid?
Oh my God. There's just like, what is even real anymore? There's so much like, there's over information, right? So you don't even know what to do, what not to do. I would say, I wouldn't say gimmick, but I mean, not everything is for everybody,
Right.
right? Every body is different. Your body is different from my body. My body is different from their body. Everybody's body is different. So, especially for a woman, right? So, fasting was a huge fad for such a long time. And women have to fast according to their cycle. They have 4 cycles per 28 days. And they have to make sure that when they decide to fast, that they're doing it at the right time of the month, or they're going to cause way more stress in their body. They're going to mess their hormones up and they're going to make their cycle feel way worse.
Mm.
So it's very, very important for us to know our bodies and then do things according to that, not just what everybody says that we should do.
Right.
So there's so many different things. I mean, even cold plunging, like for a woman at a certain time of the month, it's not good to do a cold plunge. Like you will put your body into stress. And if you create way more stress during a specific time of your cycle, then it's going to cascade your hormones out of whack.
Right.
So,
This is where doing things with more of a personalized approach comes
yes.
into play.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with CBD?
Yeah.
You use it?
I've used it here and there. Mhm.
So, I sit on a advisory board of a company called Pico CBD,
Okay.
and they're the first in the world that have come out with CBD that can be given intravenously.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable what's
Really?
happening. Oh yeah.
Wait
yeah,
a minute.
yeah,
Intravenous. Okay.
yeah. So anti-inflammatory properties,
Yeah.
boosting immune
Yeah.
system. There's oncologists, doctors that are actively utilizing it for cancer patients.
Wow.
So, um, I always try to talk about it a bit. Obviously I'm on the advisory board, but to try to get the word out so
Yeah.
people could talk about it. And I don't know if you have any expertise on with CBD, but if you do, I'd love to hear it.
I mean, I've used it for pain before. Honestly, it's helped a lot with pain. I did gymnastics for a really long time, so I used to wake up in a ton of pain. So I was using CBD when I was a chef because it was creating like sciatica and stuff. You can't sit down when you're a chef. So I was using a lot of CBD at that time. I think I would take CBD over Tylenol, ibuprofen, Advil. I would take CBD over that 100,000 times because
Yeah.
that stuff will kill your, your liver and your
Oh yeah,
kidneys. So,
100%.
mhm.
So chef. So
Yeah.
so you know how to throw it in the kitchen.
Yes, yes.
So like when it comes to health and wellness, like what's your go-to type of meal that
Well,
or
okay.
like the gourmet, health and wellness meal?
Look, so I was a pastry chef, honestly.
Oh, that ain't
So
healthy. Well, you can
no,
make pastry healthy
you
to a
can
certain extent.
to a certain extent. I felt like really guilty as I was being a pastry chef because I was giving people all the sugar. So I used to do charity events and support them through pastry. But go to healthy meal. I mean, I just try to have a lot of really healthy fats. I try to eat in the right order. A lot of people don't know how to eat in the right order. If you eat carbs, like if you're out to dinner, they always give you the bread basket first because
Right.
they know that if you eat bread before you eat your protein or you eat your fiber, then it's going to spike your sugar and you're going to get hungrier as the meal goes on. So that's why they
Mm,
give the bread baskets. So if you make sure to eat in the right order, then your blood sugar spike will be blunted and then you won't get all of the bad stuff. Like you can still have a dessert, right?
right.
So, I mean, eat your vegetables first, eat your protein next, eat your starch next, and then after that, you can have a little bit of dessert, and you won't have that huge blood sugar spike. So it's
Right,
like
right.
how to eat. But I mean, I just try to eat a lot of healthy fats and organic as much as I can. And I don't know, it's just it's you ever see those videos on social where the guy's like trying to eat something but it's toxic because it's out of a plastic bag or trying to eat this but it's toxic because it has
Uh,
this in it. It's very hard to try to grasp all of the things that are out here, but I try to keep it as simple as possible, like eggs in the morning. Try to start your breakfast off. I mean, that is the start of your day. So you don't want to just eat a bowl of sugary cereal or some pancakes and maple syrup. Like you're literally setting yourself up for your
yeah.
blood sugar to be
Yep,
all
yep.
over the place all day. So a really good, hearty, high fat breakfast is what I would recommend. So I always have eggs and avocado or maybe eggs and some toast or something. And then I just kind of allow myself to eat when I'm hungry throughout the day. I won't eat probably 2 to 3 hours before I go to sleep. But I mean, honestly, I don't have a strict diet. I just don't eat the crap that's like fruity pebbles and
All the
like
processed stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
chips and like
You know how to make the appropriate choices,
yeah.
which is important.
Mhm.
Stick to more like whole foods, things that are
Yes.
actual real food versus
Yeah.
all the stuff in cans and boxes and
Right.
everything else.
Right.
So,
And then with cans, you're getting all of the microplastics from the inside
hmm
of the can. It's just, you have to be really careful with this food out here.
yeah.
And then a lot of people drink their calories too. So I don't even keep juice or anything like that in my house because it's just like a sugar bomb like that you're going to consume. So I really only really drink water, coffee, tea.
What about alcohol?
I don't drink alcohol anymore. I mean,
Right.
this is so many years I did. Alcohol to me, honestly, I mean, I don't judge anybody that loves to drink, but what you're doing is you're literally just poisoning yourself.
Right.
Like your liver is taking time off of detoxing your body from all of the toxins that we're exposed to every day, all day, anyways, to now have to detox this alcohol, this poison that you've put in your body. So you're just hopped up with all of this backup of loaded of toxins and it ruins your sleep. I mean, not it's not the
No,
best
it's not
thing
good
to
for you at all.
do.
So Huberman actually did a whole, actually multiple podcast episode talking about alcohol and what it does to the brain, what it
Uh-huh.
does to the body, and people tend to ask like, well, what is the safe amount of alcohol to ingest? There is no safe,
Uh-uh.
amount. It's interesting because I was actually reading an article about Well, why is alcohol so much worse than a lot of these other drugs that you put into your body, like something like marijuana,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what they say is like you have actual endocannabinoid receptors in your
Receptors.
body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The alcohol is different. You put that poison in your body, and your body's going into defense mode.
Yeah.
You know, when you start feeling a little loopy and drunk, that's not
Yes.
normal.
No.
That's your body going into this defense mode. Then you
Yes.
have an electrolyte imbalance from drinking too
Yes.
much. So it's just not good. It's a toxin. It causes oxidative stress. It causes inflammation. Like there's nothing good about it.
You
You
just
know?
poison. It's just poison for
Yeah,
your
it
body.
really is. It's just poison.
And everybody's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the wine." I mean,
Oh, the wine's good for your heart. Well, that's from the polyphenols inside of the grapes. You can get that without the wine in today's
exactly.
world. You know, you don't need that.
Exactly. And I think you would have to drink like 10 bottles to be able to get like a good
A
amount of
good
the poison.
amount,
Like
right?
it's,
Yeah.
not the best.
So right now there's a big movement happening called the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again.
Mm-hmm.
What's your input on that?
To be honest, I kind of stay in my own little bubble, my own little world. I really don't pay attention to what happens on the outskirts of my world. I've really chosen to intentionally live like this. Like when the government shut down, I didn't even know because I literally stay focused, so focused on what my mission is, what my intention is for my life, my family's life, and the world, right?
Right.
So I never pay attention to things that could upset me because if I'm not able to control that, then I'm just putting my body into fight or flight, causing stress and inflammation over something that I can't even do anything about. So I'm so focused on my mission and what I'm trying to spread and the light that I'm trying to share with the world that I really don't pay too much attention to any of the media, any type of politics. I mean, I've seen a lot of articles and stuff about RFK, and I love the fact that he is trying to clean up the vaccines and help, with stem cells and all of these healthier ways to kind of heal us, which is amazing. I think that's great. But I don't study or look at it enough to really understand or know what's really happening in that realm
right.
because honestly, I get so emotional over like disasters that happen even in the world. Like I will literally just turn my head the other way because for me, it wouldn't be realistic for me to get on a plane and fly over to that disaster and start helping.
Right.
That's not what my mission is at this moment in time on the planet. So it's like if I look at that and I get upset about that, then my energy, my stress is going to add that into the collective and it's not going to help anybody with anything. So I really just pay attention to my own reality and what I'm able to control. And I really feel like other people should do the same. Because I mean, if you sit around and watch the news all day, you're really just creating stress inside of your own body and creating more stress in your external world because everything correlates, right? So the more stressed and the more unhealthy you are, you're going to bleed that into external world to others, right? To your family, to other people. So I really just wouldn't recommend people to be paying attention to things, especially if they're not going to do anything about it. Now, if you're going to do something about it and you're going to stand up and create a movement and you're going to get thousands of people behind you and you're going to make this like do that, But for people just to be unconsciously watching things that are upsetting to them, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I hear you on that. So going back to all the health and wellness stuff, if there was one modality that is the modality for you when it comes to health and wellness, the biohacking, whatever we want to call it, what is that one modality that you would say, hey, this is the one I stick
Just
with?
one? Can
Just
I have
one.
like 5?
I know you want 5. You might
minute.
want 10. One. What's the one? The one that you say, you know what? I can't live without this
Oh
one.
my God. There's like 3. I would have to say grounding. I mean, I would have to say grounding because it's all encompassing. I mean, you're sitting in nature, you're connecting with nature, the sun, you're getting your vitamin D, you're getting the beautiful electrons. It's free, it feels good. I mean, you're getting back in connection with our mother, Mother Earth. So I would say grounding would probably be top thing that I could not live without.
Yeah. I'm over here now trying to like answer my own question. And I don't even know
Yeah, what
which.
is your what is it? One.
I have a three, so it has to be out of the three. Which mine are nutrition, exercise,
Mm.
and sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think sleep would be ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, sleep would be the probably one of the most important, because if you don't get really good sleep, that'd be a problem.
Yeah.
But obviously you got to stack things for sure.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um, so you're a huge advocate of utilizing infrared saunas,
Mm-hmm.
doing the different hydration therapies,
Mm-hmm.
and you have certain detox protocols.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about what you do with those.
So I used to have a red infrared sauna. I think that infrared saunas are one of the most phenomenal things for anybody. If you have access to one, I would really highly recommend them. A lot of longevity people and a ton of studies are being done on infrared specifically, and it is showing that that alone will extend life, will help you to feel better, detox your body, which is something that we all need to do. We all need to sweat, and specifically in infrared, that's heating you up basically from the inside out. So now it's like I was talking to Sunlitten's CEO or founder basically, and what happens is that the sweat that comes out of your pores is like a different size of like molecule of sweat. So it's pushing more toxicity out of your body than just a
Mm.
regular, steam sauna or something. So infrared is really, really powerful. And I mean, if you don't have access to a sauna, then you just need to get out and sweat every single day, because that is one of the major, major ways that we can detoxify our body. So make sure that you're sweating. Then I do parasite cleanses because it's something that's not talked about
You've done
enough.
that?
Oh yeah, many
Which one did
times.
you do? Do you remember that?
Parafy. I do Kim Rogers, the
Kim Rogers.
parasite.
I
Yeah,
just had her on the pod.
I love
Yeah,
her. She's
yeah.
amazing. But yes, I
Man,
do.
she has some crazy videos of some of the. Did you have anything crazy like that pop out?
No,
No?
no. She
Okay.
had things coming out of her face,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
crawling out of her. I'm sorry. I just it was like it freaked me out so much
Yeah.
after I interviewed her. Maybe like I think I interviewed her 2.5 years ago for the first time, and that first interview it freaked me out. And I was like, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
doing parasite cleanses at least twice a year now. Like I'm
How
not.
do you feel after you do it? I
Oh,
haven't done mine yet.
amazing. Clear,
Yeah.
amazing. We got to think about, I mean, if you travel a lot, which you
Yeah.
do, like you're probably going to pick something up as you're traveling
Yeah.
somewhere. I mean, even through the water that you're showering in, you can get parasites through that. I mean, if
Right.
you go to another country, you're eating their food, stuff is prepared differently.
Yeah.
We need to do these parasite cleanses. Did you know that 100% of motorcycle accidents, the people that have gotten in these accidents have toxoplasmosis? So they have the parasite toxoplasmosis in their brains. 100%
Really?
of motorcycle accidents,
Why is
because
that?
toxoplasmosis will take over your brain, your fear center, and shut it down basically.
Oh wow.
Yes, and you get that from cat pee and like cat stuff. Like it's
Wow.
yeah.
I guess if you're riding a motorcycle, you've
Well.
gotten rid of your fear somehow.
Yes.
Now it makes
yes.
sense.
Yeah. So
I know I don't have that one because I don't like to get on motorcycles. So,
That's good.
Elizabeth, how do you define success?
Peace. Honestly, peace within. Nothing external. It's all within. So can you sit with yourself and be comfortable, and sit in silence and be happy, and sit with all of the chaos of the external world happening around you and still feel whole and peaceful within yourself? That's success to me.
I love that. That's powerful. Elizabeth, if you could take the next minute to 2 minutes, and I want this answer to come from the heart. I want you to tell us what the actual true problem in our world is right now, and how you have part of the solution.
Ooh. The problem of the world is that we are conditioned, systemized, and manipulated into believing that we do not have power within us to create our own reality, that we do not have the power to heal ourselves, that we don't have the power to stand in our creativity, to create the beautiful reality that I know from now doing all of this stuff over the past 2 decades, that we do have the power to do anything that we want to within us, that our voices have been stolen from from years of suppression for women and years of just control from these larger systems. They keep things from us. There is free energy out there, but they have kept that from us for over 50 years because of wanting to control and wanting the power. And it's like all of these different things that are being hidden from us. So there's a small amount of people can gain power and money is just such a disgrace to me. And so it's like for us, we need to become more educated, stop listening to everybody externally tell us what we need to do for ourselves, and start to realize and encompass that knowledge and education ourselves, do our own research. And honestly, I mean, we have the power within us to do anything. You were talking about Joe Dispenza earlier. We can miraculously heal like that just from our minds.
Right.
But we have been conditioned that there is no magic in this world, that our conditions are just our conditions, and we have to succumb to whatever upbringing or whatever reality they tell us they want us to have. And it's like, that's not the case. We have so much power within us to create whatever it is that we want to. I mean, when I was sitting on the jail floor, having the CO scream at me, telling me I wasn't anything and I wasn't going to amount to anything, did I ever think that I would be speaking globally on stages for thousands? I never thought that that would be a thing. But guess
Right.
what? I found out that I have power within me. I have divine source, God, universe, connection within me, just like every single person on this planet has that within them. And if they can find that, connect to that, then the world becomes your magical playground. You can create whatever it is that you want to create. And I have lived this. I live this daily. I mean, I don't create my reality from externally trying to hustle anymore.
Right.
I create my external reality through internally living it, knowing it, and understanding that this is the divine place where I'm supposed to be to accomplish my mission on the planet. And as long as I stay in connection with that part of myself, then everything unfolds like magic for me. I mean, I have not tried to go speak on global stages. They've literally just come to me and fell into my lap when I lost everything this year. I mean, it was very interesting. I thought it was going to take years maybe to climb and try to create what I wanted to. But I mean, it was as soon as I lost everything and I almost was forced to stand naked, alone, with no money, no things, no job, no career, no plans, no employees. Like all of these things were gone. And I was like, I just have me now. So what do I do with that? And so I just started to live my reality within me and connect with that fire that we all have that has kind of been snuffed out and stolen from us. So I connected back with that. I lit that fire again and lived through that fire every single day. And in meditations, in visualizations, I call it remembrance, right? You're remembering things when you feel that fire burning and you're seeing something in your reality that you're meditating about or visualizing like your dream. That's a remembrance in my eyes. And if you can live that emotionally and so clearly within yourself, then it unfolds for you in this third dimensional reality. I mean, quantum physics is a thing. It's proven now by science, the observer effect, right? Everything external outside of us exists as pure potential, as waveforms. Until we observe it, then it collapses into this third dimensional reality. Therefore, our perception of the current moment, our observation of what's happening is collapsing our reality into our life, right? So what is your perception lens? What is it saying?
Mm-hmm.
What is your lens? Is it out of fear, out of lack? Do you think that life is hard? Or you should switch that lens into thinking life is magic and beautiful and having gratitude. So now when you observe things, boom, your third dimensional reality that you're creating is of the divine power and divine energy instead of looking through the lens of lack, which then you're going to create more of that. We have this bundle of nerves at our brainstem called the reticular activating system, and it filters our reality from 11 million bits of information per second to 50. And that 50 is determined upon how we perceive life to be, who we think we are, and what we think life to be. So if you think that life is hard and that is your belief, then your reticular activating system is going to filter out opportunity and it's going to filter in obstacles everywhere.
Right.
So shift that perception, your observance, into something of magic. And now opportunities are going to just boop, 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 boop. And it just unfolds. And you're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
And we all have this. We all have this. And we don't need any money. We don't need any cars. We don't need any mansions. We don't need anybody to find this fire, this power within us to create our best reality. All we have to do is find ourselves.
Tap in.
It. Yeah.
You just got to tap in.
Mm-hmm.
Very well said. That actually, I feel the fire.
Yeah,
I feel it. I feel it. I'm scared to even ask any more questions because I feel like that was a mic drop right there. No, that was really good. And I think there's someone out there who needed that for sure. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I am going to have a little bit of fun here. And I have, one of my favorite podcasts out there, The Diary of a CEO, Stephen Burlett. He came out with these conversation cards. So I want you to open it up. Just grab a random card from the inside. And what you're going to do is read the question.
Okay.
And then you're going to answer it.
Okay. Okay. What is the unobvious thing that you struggle with? Thing that I struggle with. I guess, people think because I teach how to work through trauma and how to create a great life for yourself that I don't get triggered, but I get very triggered. I still have triggers. I'm still human. I get angry. I have rage sometimes that bothers me. Things bother me, but I just know from doing all the work that I know how to control my actions, but it doesn't mean that I'm not triggered and I'm not feeling like ripping someone's face off. You know what I'm saying? It's still in me, but I just choose not to act on those, behaviors and thoughts. So
nice. Awesome. Elisabeth, if there's one person tuning into this podcast that really resonates with today's message, what is one thing you can lead them off with?
Just that there's always hope. So many times throughout my life, at least, I didn't have hope and I thought I was just going to be a loser the rest of my life with nothing. And there's always hope. You can always change your reality. It just takes a second of belief. Like every second of every single day is an opportunity for you to change. And it's up to you whether you take it or not. It's really that simple. Do you go this way or do you go that way? It's a choice at every moment. So what choice are you going to make to create the beautiful life that you want to create? You can change that at any moment.
Wow. That is the truth. And Elisabeth, as we're wrapping up here, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so people can find me, Elisabeth, spelled with an S, ElisabethUnlimited.com. I have all my events and coaching programs on there. And then they can find me on Instagram, Elisabeth I. Carson, and Facebook, Elisabeth Carson, YouTube, Elisabeth Carson, Elisabeth Unlimited. So, yeah.
Which will include all the links down below.
Awesome.
Elisabeth, this was a fantastic podcast.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming on A Healthy Point of View podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me so much. This
Appreciate
is super fun.
Awesome. Guys, you heard Elisabeth. You got that fire within you. We all have it. You just have to be able to tap in. There's so many things that you can do. Make sure you follow her. She continuously gives great advice on how you can do that. She has her programs. Listen, if you don't feel it out of this podcast, there's someone who's going to benefit from today's message. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. Make sure you subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff, and we'll see you for the next one.